and she just gasped when she saw my foot. That's not very comforting when you're visiting the doctor.
That's when I knew when I fucked up.
And I wanna warn all the sensitive people out there that this might be disturbing. And I could see my foot getting bigger by the second, and I was cold sweating like never before from the shock. What's up guys, welcome to JP Skateboard channel, and today I'm gonna share with you my worst skateboard injury thus far. Now skateboarding isn't always about tricks and having a good time. Like any other sports, there's always a risk of getting injured. And it can take a lot of time to get back on the board after doing a lot of rehabilitation. Mostly it's just minor smaller injuries, but sometimes it can get quite nasty. And what I went through was quite unnecessary. And it was just as unnecessary as it was spontaneous to do this trick. Well, it wasn't even a trick. Let's just call it a dumb maneuver. And I wanna share with you what happened, where it happened, and my road to recovery. So we're gonna time travel back to September 2016. It was a late summer day and it was hot as hell, but I had a great session with my homies. And I wanted to try this wally thing. Let's take a closer look at the place to give you a proper picture.
So I came over here, did a wally thing, whatever you wanna call it, onto this, up on the bench over here. Rolled all the way on the bench, so instead of stopping I just kept rolling, and as you can see the pool comes right here. So what did I do then? I did a hippie jump from up there to down here, and it felt like I was in the air for 1 hour and the board was still under me. That's when I knew when I fucked up. And like a turtle on his back, I was laying here, didn't know what to do really, and then I had to make my way all up there.
So after having a lot of fun free falling down the deep end, I was laying on my back and I was in total shock. So when I looked at my foot was in a 90-degree angle, like it jumped out of its socket. But I'm not very sure because the doctor didn't believe me, and he told me it's really rare for the foot to jump out of its socket. Maybe it was the shoe that slid off somehow. The memory is really foggy. Anyways, I tried to wiggle my foot back in place with my hand. And after that I immediately tried to stand up, and I was so relieved it worked. So I started to walk up from the pool. I lay down on a bench to hold my foot high. And I could see my foot getting bigger by the second. And I was cold sweating like never before from the shock. And that was the end of that day. I just went home, I didn't want to go to the hospital. And I remember this was on a Thursday. So I waited out the weekend, and on Monday I went to the doctor to get an X-ray, just to make sure nothing was broken. So Monday came and I went to the doctor, and luckily it didn't take that long. But when I showed my foot to the doctor, there was a trainee in the room, and she just gasped when she saw my foot. That's not very comforting when you're visiting the doctor. And my foot was so swollen, it looked like an elephant's foot. And I got the X-ray back and nothing was broken to my relief. And the doctor told me not to watch the Olympics that was going on right then. He told me to watch the Paralympics instead, and he recommended me to do some physical therapy, so I did a lot of exercising. And after a few days, my foot was really nasty looking, and I got a couple of pictures on it. And I want to warn all the sensitive people out there that this might be disturbing. And it was such an insane pain. The only way to describe it, it burned every time I set my foot on the ground. Like I had acid in my veins, and I was turning yellow from my foot up to my kneecap. Then I got a couple of blisters on my foot, and I'm not gonna tell you the details of what happened with those. So I couldn't skate for almost 3 months. And of course it was my front foot that got injured, and I was afraid I couldn't flip my board anymore. But eventually my foot healed really slowly, and I could start skating again, but I took it really easy. And that's why my left foot is bigger than the right one. And I cannot bend it as much as I used to. And if I bend it too much this way, it hurts like a rolled ankle. And I'm so glad I can still flip these days. And I believe I'm on a better level now than I used to be. But the road to recovery was very long. But I'm so glad I did the physical therapy. Otherwise, this could be a lot worse. So thank you so much for joining me on this video. If you like, please share your injuries in the comments. And remember, stay safe, skate safe, like and subscribe, and I see you in the next video.